Oh. If you are just a passerby in this whole conspiracy collection craze, I don't think that this palette does. Today was like Christmas because I got my Shane Dawson and Jeffree Star conspiracy collection haul in the mail. If you watched my shop with me video that I did on this collection's launch, then you know that I picked up the Mini Controversy palette as well as a liquid lipstick. And if you want to know the tea on why I did not purchase the conspiracy palette, you can go watch that video. I will link it below. But besides my thoughts on the larger conspiracy palette, another reason why I wanted to really test out the Mini Controversy is, you know, we are dedicated to budget beauty over here on the channel, and this was the more affordable palette of the two in the conspiracy collection. But of course it's obviously smaller. We've got 9 shades in the palette, so it's potentially more limiting. Or is it? In this video, I'm gonna put the Shane Dawson Mini Controversy palette to the test and see if I can get a week's worth of eyeshadow looks from it. If you're new here, hi, I'm Miranda. Welcome to my channel where I talk all things budget, beauty, fashion, and lifestyle. If that sounds interesting to you, then become the newest member of the Slash Squad by hitting subscribe and the bell icon. So right now, I'm gonna dip into this palette for the first time, create an eye look, share my initial thoughts. Then I'm gonna be sharing my daily looks with you throughout the week, and at the end, we'll regroup and kind of give my final thoughts on how versatile is this palette. Can you really get your money's worth? So let's break this puppy in. I'm gonna start out with Cry on My Couch, which is a matte off-white shade, sort of creamy, and that's just gonna go all over the lids. Next, I've been super eager to dip into this Diet Root Beer shade. This is the shade that is in both the Conspiracy palette as well as the Mini Controversy palette. I'm gonna use it as a transition shade. Okay, we'll say that I'm loving how easy it is to blend this shade. So I do wanna say my hypothesis was correct from my last video. I was talking about how I really wanted a deep matte brown in the Conspiracy palette and how that would have made it much more wearable for me. Some people were like, what about Diet Root Beer? Hun, this is not a creased shade for my skin tone. So just feeling a little bit justified right now. All right, next gonna go into Controversy. Now even this shade is a little bit more medium toned than I would pick for an outer corner shade when working with purple, but I feel like we can definitely make this work. As I'm blending, I am pretty impressed with how well the shades are blending in with one another without getting muddy. Next, going into My Boyfriend's Purse, and I'm gonna use that as my highlight shade. It applies sort of lighter than it looks in the pan. I'm gonna go ahead and cut my crease for this look. Let's just go all out for this first Mini Controversy look. Now I'm gonna go into Exposed, this beautiful lilac, and I'm pretty sure it's matte. Let's find out. Yep, it is matte. It's really interesting how some of these shades are translating on the skin, and especially over concealer. I mean, I knew this was a lilac shade and I'm absolutely loving how it looks, but it looks like it leans a little bit more pink in the pan, but on my eye, it's definitely giving me more true lilac vibes with more of a blue undertone. Now for lighter shades, these mattes are incredibly pigmented for sure. I am getting a little bit of a line of demarcation where Exposed is on top of the concealer. I'm gonna bring Controversy on my lower lash line, blend that out a little bit. I'm gonna go back into My Boyfriend's Purse, which is such a funny sentence. I'm gonna put that in my inner corner and kind of blend it just a little bit onto the lid. Here is the first finished eye look of the week. I love a purple eye anyway, so I knew that this wasn't gonna be too off-brand for me, but I feel like I was able to create this full cohesive look in the style that I usually do my makeup. All right, y'all, I've been dying to try on the liquid lipstick. So I did pick up the shade Shane. They describe the shade as a gunmetal, so yeah, I definitely see that. Oh, I really like this formula. I'm into it. This liquid lipstick is feather light. It feels like nothing's there, and I probably put 2 layers on just to really build up that metallic finish. I gotta say, as a first-time Jeffree Star Cosmetics consumer, I'm more impressed with the liquid lipstick than I am with the eyeshadow. We'll see if throughout the week I can find more ways to incorporate this liquid lipstick because, you know, it is eye safe. All right, I'll see you tomorrow for look number 2. All right, it is day 2, and this is the look we are wearing today. I ended up layering my Apology in my crease over the Simulation. Now, obviously, my Apology is a burgundy shade, Simulation, blue, red plus blue equals purple. So we did end up with a little bit of a purple vibe again today, but we have that beautiful pop of blue on the lid, and in general, I am happy with this final look. One shade that surprised me in this look was Flat Earth, which in all of the photos of this palette online, it really did strike me as just a matte white, but it actually comes out to be a very pale baby blue. So I used that under my brow bone, and it's cool. It's a little bit different. I don't think I have that shade in my collection already, especially not one that applies as opaque as Flat Earth. Now today we definitely dealt with a lot more fallout than yesterday, mostly from the Simulation and then from my Apology. All right, day 2 using the Mini Controversy palette is in the books. I'll see you tomorrow for look number 3. All right, it is day 3 and we are sporting a much more neutral look than the first 2 days. When you look at the Mini Controversy palette, the first thing that comes to mind is probably not neutral, but I wanted to push the boundaries and see if we could create an everyday neutral look. On the lids, we only have 3 shades going on. We've got Cry on My Couch, which I used as a base shade and on the lid. My Boyfriend's Purse is on the brow bone and inner corner, and I gotta say, Diet Root Beer really delivered for this look. I started out using it as a transition, but I decided to try and layer it up, see how deep we could get it, and it added just enough dimension for me to not feel like I needed something else in my crease or outer corner. But I decided to go a little rogue, and I wanted to test out the whole using Jeffree Star liquid lipsticks as eyeliner trend. So I loaded up some of the Shane shade on the back of my hand, went in with an eyeliner brush, and I was so surprised with how well it performed as a liner. I'm so much more inclined to buy more Jeffree Star liquid lipsticks now because I know that they're basically double duty. But since we did use Shane on the eyes, I kind of want to tie it together and use it again on the lips. It is such a unique color. I'm so glad I picked this one up. Okay, this might actually be my favorite look so far this week with the lips and everything. All right, day 4, and I think we have another pretty wearable look in my opinion. In fact, it's very appropriate for the holidays. I used my Apology and it blended out into this really pretty berry tone. I helped soften it up with Diet Root Beer, and then my Boyfriend's Purse is on the lid. And I'm really liking the little pop of the Shane liquid lipstick on the eyeliner. It just adds a little bit of a twinkle behind my mascara, I think. I did add a little bit of my face highlighter in the inner corner and my brow bone, so I hope that's not considered cheating. But this is a really nice, soft, romantic look that I don't think I would have thought I could get just looking at the palette. All right, day 5, and I really wanted to give the blues an opportunity to shine today. Now, while I do really like how this look came out, I also discovered that the blues are probably the hardest to work with in this palette. Starting off on a good note, the Simulation applies exactly how it looks in the pan onto the skin, especially when you're using your fingers. It's vibrant straight away, you don't need to build it up. But for a shimmer shade, the Simulation was a little bit stiffer than I expected it to be. Canceled, on the other hand, is probably my least favorite shade in this palette. I tried using it to blend out the Simulation, and as it blended, it turned kind of teal. It didn't retain the same gumball blue hue that you see and expect. But with some layering and blending, this look did come out pretty much how I envisioned it in my head, and I think it is a good way to get use of the blues in this palette. Day 6, and this is definitely my new favorite look of the week. It is so perfect for fall, and I used kind of a similar technique that I did yesterday with the blues, but this time with my Apology, which is that beautiful burgundy. Now I will say, out of all of the shades in this palette, my Apology is the one that produces the most fallout on the face, and you cannot just brush it off because it will smear all over. So if you are going to be using my Apology in a look, just do your face makeup last. Despite that though, I think my Apology is the most versatile shade in this palette because it works well both with the blues and the purples. It also blends really nicely into Diet Root Beer. So this look is right up my alley. I feel like out of all the looks that I created this week, I'll probably be re-wearing this one the most. All right, we are here at the end of the week for look number 7, and I used every single shade in the Mini Controversy palette to create this last look. I really wanted to see how all the shades interacted together. I really like the finished look. It's definitely bold and out there and bright, but I'm really glad that I was able to create such a cohesive look with all of these shades. Now, a couple days ago, I was talking about how I wasn't really feeling the shade Canceled when I did that full blue look, but today it definitely redeemed itself. It just works better as a shade packed onto the lid versus blended out if you do want to get that blue you see in the pan. This look also kind of reaffirmed my opinion that My Apology is probably the best shade in the palette. Being able to use it for so many different things, it worked really well in the crease and transition area today. Yesterday it worked really well on the lid blended out. I think that is definitely the star of this palette. So now that it's been a full week using the Mini Controversy palette, here are my overall thoughts. If you push yourself creatively, you can definitely get your money's worth, especially if you like purples and blues. Now, if you like palettes that are a little bit more obvious in how to use them and which shades to use together, this might be a little bit more difficult to navigate. Now, I do feel that the Mini Controversy is a bit limiting, but not because of the number of shades, but because of the tonal variety. And this is something that I mentioned with the Conspiracy palette as well. Most of the shades are either light or medium. We don't really have any deep shades, at least shades that translate as deep on my skin tone. So as far as creating depth in my looks, that was probably the biggest challenge that I had throughout the week. Now, the pigment across the board, very impressive, especially these light mattes that applied almost completely opaque in one layer. But here's the bottom line. If I'm being honest, if I wasn't such a big fan of Shane and the series that he's created, I don't think I would have purchased this palette. I do think that this is a good find if you are using purples and blues constantly in your looks and if you don't have shades like this already in your collection. But if you are just a passerby in this whole conspiracy collection craze, I don't think that this palette does enough to stand alone outside of the hype. I personally think that I could match these shades in more budget-friendly palettes. Let me know if that's something you'd want to see in a video. After seeing the looks I created this week, are you more or less inclined to pick up the Mini Controversy once they restock? Let me know in the comments below, as well as which was your favorite look from this week. Today's shout out goes to Sean. Thanks for being a member of the Slashed Squad. And join me over in this video next where I swatch my favorite drugstore lipsticks for fall. I'll see you over there. Bye!